Hey guys, welcome to Chief Concerns. It's our very first episode after our merger with Bleav Podcast Network. We're here to capture more viewers. We hope to capture more viewers, and and we're really excited about the partnership. For those of you who don't know us, I'm Marcus Dash, and we're here with former tight end Jason Dunn and former cornerback Eric Warfield. Guys, is there anything you want the Bleav Podcast Network out there to know about you guys, other than you guys are amazing at football?
I mean, they're basically here to help, market us, right? Bring in sponsors and, because it helps both companies, theirs and ours. So, I mean, heck, just what the name logo says, Bleav in us. We can get it done, I feel like we got a good group here. It's early, still early. We haven't even got a year under our belt. We got a lot of things clicking in the right direction. So I like it. It's spontaneous. It's fun. You get to, shoot shit with some of your friends, and hopefully in the future, we'll have some opponents on and get to discuss things with them too. So, we got some things up our sleeves that can be quite interesting.
Yeah, I tell you what, man, it's a great partnership. I'm glad we was able to make something like that happen. And of course, like he said, we just given pretty much kind of an insight and almost like a pulling back the curtain on, all the things that happen in the NFL, man, and the content that we got, man, it's going to be something that everybody's going to want to hear, something that's really particular, because from our perspective of playing, of just being behind the scenes, knowing how guys think, knowing how the whole administration, all those things, how it all operates, is just one of those things, man, that we got kind of that good insight that we can kind of give to people. So it's going to be particular, man. But we just love, having the fans able to reach out and talk about some of these things. So Bleav, absolutely, man. Like he said, man, Bleav in us, shoot, Bleav in entertainment. So good deal.
Yeah, it's gonna be a great partnership, and we can't wait to meet some of you, maybe the new Bleav listeners out there. So it is a Kansas City Chief-based show. So, and as Jason said, they're giving you guys raw insight into what players think about what's going on in their organization they used to play for. And so with that being said, our chief concern number one this week is obviously last week. It was kind of a slow week. It's been kind of slow for the Chiefs since the first initial Joe Thuney signing. But last week, Sunday night, Brett Veach struck down, brought in Jarran Reed, highly sought after defensive tackle from Seattle. The guy took less money to come with us and turned down 9 other teams' offers to come to Kansas City. And then also we brought in Blythe, center from Los Angeles Rams, who, from what I read, has 0 penalties and has allowed 0 sacks in his 6 years in playing in the playoffs with the Rams. So that's amazing. That's both the needs for us. What did you guys think of the signings this past week?
I'm all for it. Like I like both of them. One, Blythe being with the Rams organization and having to face Aaron Donald at practice, so he's got an intense workout and an intense what am I trying to get at? Work ethic because of the talent that he's on up against. And to have somebody like Reed come in, and I think it can boost the play of Frank Clark, because I think they played together at Seattle. And it's difficult when you're going into a new organization and having to, kind of be yourself. Although he came in the first year and won the Super Bowl here with us, it's still not the same. He was just adding to a great team of what we already had, and filled in at that position really nice. But just having somebody to come in to play alongside you that you play with this beginning of your career, basically, kind of helps you get more comfortable. And plus, he's been taking a lot of flack too from fans about the amount of pay that he's getting and for the performance that he's given. So I hope it does help Frank and to get back into the rhythm that he was in when he was in Seattle. Because Reed is he's a dominant D tackle, and he's a solid guy that can hold his ground up the middle, and he gets quite a few sacks coming up the middle too. So that helps tremendously.
Yeah, man, I had to agree with you, man. I was really excited, and to be honest, it was almost like, okay, see, like I told y'all so. Like, hey, just relax a little bit. These things like at a free agency just kind of happens. And to be honest with you, I didn't see this Reed signing coming. I didn't see it coming at all. And so all of a sudden it just pops out of the hat. So the thing is, you got to trust in these guys that's in the organization about who they're seeking after, who they're going to get. And that was just a great signing. I mean, it's to bolster our pass rush significantly, and our run defense significantly. Then, of course, what that does, it adds on. I didn't even think about the element of what you were talking about, Frank, and just having somebody that he's comfortable with. You know what I mean? And so, like you said, that's bringing your boy in. Like now, hey man, let's go have fun again. You're gonna love
wreak havoc.
Yeah. So that chemistry, just coming out there, man. I think it reinvigorates what he wants to do out there on the field. Like you said, maybe it boosts him even more to come out here and just play even better. Just knowing for somebody that you played with before, just having that energy and that rapport with is going to be key. So, man, hats off, man, to Veach for making that happen, and Andy and all those guys for getting that deal done. The center, man, that's a wonderful insight on that too, E, about going against Aaron Donald. But he's going against the best in the business every single day in practice. And the thing is, you're gonna get ready, and like, look, if I can handle this guy, at least slow him down in practice. All these other guys that's coming after him, that I'm gonna be playing against. Yeah, it is. It's gonna be easy. So, man, it's a great signing. Like I said before, I mean, sometimes that's what these things happen. And having a center come in for the amount of money that he's coming in to come play, he's added. I mean, a benefit to the offense, especially at center. Plus, like I said, he's got the two guards on the side of him. So that has helped out tremendously on the offensive line, just the offense in itself. So we just need, maybe a couple more signings here and there. But what it does is just getting these guys in free agency. Now you start looking at the draft about what it is that you actually need now. You know what I'm saying? I think you don't have to necessarily stress about, okay, who we're going to get in the draft or who we're not going to get in the draft. Do we have to wait for this guy? Do we have to move up to get a guy? So I think it takes, two positions off the table that you don't necessarily have to worry about. But man, it just great job, man, by Veach. So, it definitely made the Kansas City Chiefs better. So definitely good signing.
For sure. And Austin Blythe, I was looking, I don't know how you guys feel about PFF rankings, but Austin Blythe was a huge, from Austin Ryder, huge improvement as far as his running ranks, run blocking ranks. I think he had 14 spots higher than him, 14 points higher. And then pass block, he was 9 points below Austin Ryder, but 14 points higher in the run game. We've had problems in the run game. So I think that's good. And then also leading to our next concern. So apparently the big reason why Jarran Reed signed with the Chiefs was Frank Clark and Chris Jones. They both sought after and they recruited him. They were, being all over that situation and getting him to come to Kansas City for less, but maybe for 1 year he can, rack up some stats with playing next to these guys. But also the rumor that comes with that is they said that Chris Jones has been trying to play more outside, play on D end over the last few years. And now with Jarran Reed coming, they said it can maybe move him out a little, sometimes more, rotating him, do what Steve Spagnuolo likes to do. What are your thoughts on Chris Jones playing a little bit all over the place now that we have another force inside where that allows him to play D end?
I like it because that's what they do with Aaron Donald. But they do that with Aaron Donald because they have a solid front seven, and with a player like that, Aaron's gonna get double teamed no matter where he's at. And so if we were to just line Chris up at one of the D ends, team's gonna audible. And they're going to check off and they're going to run away from his side or straight up the middle. But now that you got somebody that can solidify that spot up the middle, now it's easy for Chris to move around if he wants to, if he's comfortable with, coming off the edges. So I like it if he's able to do so. But, I don't want to take away from his excellence that he brings up the middle. If it's just trying to disguise something and that's not really a strong point of his, he just wants to try it out. But if it's a way of us letting loose everything Chris has to offer for us and he's going to make plays for us, I'm all for it. Like I said, you bring Reed and Reed is able to at least do the things that he was doing in not Kansas, but in Seattle, and to get Frank more comfortable with his position and on the rush edge. Even with that, we still have Taco coming back, and Taco was balling before he got hurt. So, you got, Taco and Frank, and to add a possible Chris Jones in the mix to help switch up things. It could be a bad thing for quarterbacks to see coming at them.
Yeah, man. You know what? I just look at it, just the versatility now of the defense, especially defensive line. But I'll say this, what that would do just for Chris in itself, like career-wise. I mean, playing on the inside, man, is tough, especially getting double teamed all the time. I mean, you think about all those big guys just constantly hitting you and just holding you up. And I seen him get frustrated, on a lot of plays last year, just because he knew he was a guy that was just bringing all the noise each and every play.
Yeah.
And I just love his play all the time, man. But, after a while, just getting beat up, just sandwiched between, the guard and the center, maybe tackle chipping you off. And I mean, that takes a lot out of a player. And so for now, he's just like, look, you know what? Hey, now I don't have to take them hits. Now I don't have to be double teamed all the time. Then I could just freely come out here and just whoop a dude's tail one-on-one, And look, and with him one-on-one up against a guy, shit, I'm going to take him out, all day, every day. So that's a great thing for him to be able to do that. But it also, like you said, he'll go back down when he needs to, because he's still a dominant force on the inside as well.
Oh, yeah.
I think you don't want to take away from the element. And I'll say this, that I still think we need an edge guy. I still think we need another, a pass rusher, just who's more specialized in that type of, football, right? But Chris gives you that element, like you want to put him out there, he just like, oh, coach, you gave me that? Here I come. Oh, they gave me defensive this time. He can't wait for the defense to be called. He can't wait.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so it's
now to get a tight end lineup over there.
Oh shit. Yeah. Oh yeah. Definitely, man. So, I know he's looking to just wear jokers out. But yeah, man, good for him. So like I said, it just creates versatility, man, in your defense. So yeah, I know I'm happy for him. Happy, he's got that option now.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you talk about edge rushers and just guys who are just strictly pass rushers. There's a lot of them out there, so I don't know if Beach is waiting to pounce on one of them when maybe as the months go on, maybe you can get him at a discounted rate. Clowney, we've mentioned on the show, still out there. Justin Houston's still out there.
Clowney's trying to get 18 to 20 mil a year. We ain't trying to pay that.
Get him on down the road, yeah. Look, there's a lot of guys, man, in the draft, man, that they edge rushers. There's plenty of them.
Yeah.
Dude, if you bring a guy in here who's just hungry, who's just trying to get on the team and make it, hey, man, come on now. Shoot, I think, at least my estimation, that money could be, served probably better, invested maybe in a different way, as opposed to the edge rusher that you can get, coming in from college. And, now, man, it's a passing business now. So you just got more of those guys,
For sure. And Alden Smith just got released. He had actually a decent year last year. And I know, he's had problems in the past and stuff, but that could be a reasonable veteran bargain maybe. And he's still, I think I read yesterday he's 28 still, which is crazy because, he's been I feel like he's been around longer than that. Just that. Okay, so this is not a Chiefs topic, but more just an overall topic. You guys are former players. Now, what were you guys' thoughts when you guys heard that the NFL will be moving to a 17-game season? And I'm hearing there's a lot of players who are upset with it. Then you had fans out there saying it's just one more week. What do you say to the fans who say it's just one more week of football? Shut up and just play. Because there's a lot of those kind of takes out there. What are your guys' stance on the 17-game season and to fans who don't know what they're talking about when they say just one more week?
To the fan or to the player?
So to the fans, because the fans are the ones who are saying it's just one more week, just shut up and play. It's just one more. It's like, is it?
It's easy to sit back and say that, but when you sit back and look at the days and the beating that you take throughout those days, and to add another week onto that, it's different. When you look at it, that extra week is a playoff week. You get this extra motivation to go out when you know that there's something more on the line when there's a playoff. But when there's just another game thrown in it, guys are going to complain no matter what because they feel like they put their bodies through enough mentally and physically, starting back in OTAs, going into training camp, going into preseason, even though I think the preseason games have been cut down also. But still with it, it's a long process. And everybody's always saying, but it's something that you love. Okay, this is a brutal game. You know, you going in there, you are beating up people. You're colliding with guys. And yes, they're trying to not get away, but I guess diminish some of the big hits to where it's not as physical. But even with that being said, football is a physical sport. There's no way around it. And so even with the training, just practices without the contact, you know, you're still beating your body up. So yeah, guys are going to complain about anything extra added if that extra that isn't something that's already involved in what the status says. You know, status says, you know, we get this many weeks of a preseason, we get this many weeks in a regular season. That's what we playing for. That's what we've been playing. Let's keep it that way. That's what my body knows. So yes, guys are gonna complain. Some guys are gonna love it because they want that extra check. It comes with an extra check, either way you look at it. And some guys are not gonna care one way or another. To me, I'd be that guy that really wouldn't care one way or another because I just enjoyed the sport. You know, if there was an extra week added, now it's to say going into the season that we're gonna play 17 games. You already know that ahead of time, so there's nothing to complain about. Now, if somebody says, okay, you got 3 more games after that, it depends on what those 3 games are. If you're telling me that I got those 3 games are going to be 2 playoffs games in the Super Bowl, oh, I'm all aboard. I'm all about it. But if this game is just another regular season game that you're just going to throw in because, you know, somebody missed the week and now you need to get, no, I can't. But that's never going to happen. So I don't see why they would want to complain. I mean, like I said, it is something that we know that's going to happen. It's a physical game. We already know that there's basically 17 weeks already, but with the bye week. And on top of that, shit, you get an extra check. So there's going to be some complaints. There's going to be some big people that love it.
So let me ask you. So I haven't really. I just seen that, you know, in the past, but I hadn't really delve into it, fully to see exactly what the whole situation was with the 17 weeks. All I know was this. They've been trying to do 17 weeks ever since I played. They've been trying to get more games out of us. So the NFL has learned how to monetize, that extra game on the players, not from the player standpoint, but also to the fans. So now that's another game that they're able to charge full ticket, for concessions and all those different things for the fans as well. Not saying the fans don't deserve it, not saying we don't want it. And I believe, even if it's a 17 week, and I'm not sure, like I said, I'm not certain, but if it's 17 weeks, I don't know if the extra check, they still may just be dividing that money up into those 17 weeks. You know what I'm saying, E? So I don't know if we get extra money, anything like that. But if I'm looking at it and have they taken the games down, the preseason games to 3?
Yeah, 3.
Is what they've done? Okay, so if they're taking the preseason games down, so that means so monetized on the business side of it, but also too, you had to think about guys who's trying to make the team, right? So now that gets shortened up about what guys are able, to get on the team, and you're trying to do an evaluation about who should we keep, who should we cut, so those guys are not going to have the opportunity, to be able to show what they can do with a shortened preseason, games. So that's a little bit different. So that's why I look at it, man, as far as from the player standpoint, it's the NFL that's benefiting off of it, really. It's a business transaction. It's pretty much what it is. They just learn how to monetize the players and the fans to get it, hey, as fans, if you don't mind paying for another ticket, which, sometimes preseason games, some people are just able to go to preseason games and get it for like less money. Cool, fine. But you know what? That's the NFL. That's NFL.
Yeah.
Part of business. It's part of business. But I don't know, like personally, do I like it? Shoot, if we ain't really getting nothing out of it, like you said, just maybe a couple more bumps and bruises, maybe more opportunities to get injured. Be different. If it was a different incentive, maybe. You know what I'm saying? If they threw something on top of it, like an extra, look, let's throw you another, whatever, for this game. I don't know. So
You got it.
Well, I think it's just the things I've heard and just what people are saying on both sides of it. You have the one side that says the NFL says they care about their players, they care about the safety, but yet they're throwing them out there for one more game.
Right.
And then everyone's just kind of laughing at the fact the NFL is using the money they lost in COVID this last year, how much money they lost, to say, okay, to make that money back, we're going to do one more game now, one more week now. So it's like, it's kind of this tit for tat where, some people love it, as a fantasy owner, as a person who loves playing fantasy, I love having another game. But like also looking at the fact that it's another week of possibly guys getting injured, and also another thing that it's not being said much is the fact that stats are going to change. For a single season stats, you get one more game to bolster those. That's going to ruin a lot of what we've seen. What we've seen over the last 30 years and stuff, or whenever the last regular season game change. That kind of sucks, because we'll see guys have ridiculous numbers that would have never happened, like 5 years ago or 10 years ago. So I think that's like a story that no one's really talking about the stat differences and stuff.
It's a good point.
As a spectator, I'm all for it, man, because like heck, at the beginning of the football season, there's nothing on. When football starts, there's absolutely nothing but the NFL. And I think Major League Baseball starts maybe halfway through that. Well, no, I think their championship is at the beginning of that too, right?
October.
Playoffs then. Yeah, they start getting into like the play, I think, at that moment. Yeah.
I'm always ready for football. And, at the end of football, that's when you're in the mix of everything, because you got the biggest games of football, which is the playoffs. You got the NBA just kind of getting hot, and then you're at the beginning of Major League Baseball and all and college stuff. So I'm all for it as a spectator. We want to see extra football, but as a player, you think about the bumps and bruises that you're gonna get. If this could shorten my career or what. And like you said, Marcus, on the stats or whatever. So there's gonna be some people to complain. There's gonna be some people that love it. Me as a former player, I would enjoy it.
Yeah,
that's a DB talking. They don't hit too often.
Right. Hey, I ain't gonna sit there and lie to you.
hey, it's more chance than him to get interceptions. You know what I mean? and the big guys up front are getting beat up. Looking at us in the tub. Hey, Jay, you want to get in that cold tub like that? My God, it's extra game meat. Do you want to interception from him?
Yeah, and I was looking at the dates. The dates of the regular season to go from September 9th to January 9th, which is just knowing the regular season is going to end January 9th is crazy to me, just because that's not what we're used to. So it'll take some getting used to, but as fans, I love it. But for the safety aspect, obviously, you worry for those kinds of things. But so now we're going to go to our final segment, which is our Chiefs Kingdom Concerns segment. We have a big fan coming on here, James Kelly. He was supposed to come on last week, but you know what? He moved to this week. But no, we're glad to have him on. He's a lifelong Chiefs fan. I think he's from the Maryland area, the DMV. Big time Chiefs fan. So we're going to get him on here. He's got some questions for you guys.
What's up, James?
What's up, guys? How you doing?
Doing well. Well, good, man. Well, good. You in the Maryland area?
Pardon?
You up in the Maryland area? Is that where you at? East Coast?
Yeah, I'm actually more closer to State College now. I work for AccuWeather, so that's where I'm up at.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah.
So you don't have anything to do with actually getting the weather right, huh? I know it's AccuWeather, and sometimes I look at it, man, and it's I don't know.
Yeah.
It really is.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that's not my thing. I'm more so on the behind the scenes aspect of things, just to make sure the network's still going.
Awesome.
Okay.
Awesome.
So you didn't have any interest in being a storm chaser, huh?
Nah. I mean, it's cool and everything, but nah, that's not for me.
So funny story. So James and I used to work with each other at a Maryland station when I used to report. Him and I actually worked with each other. One day we were both working Sundays, and I Bleav he was wearing a Chiefs shirt. Came in. I was watching the Chiefs game, and he was like, "You're a Chiefs fan?" I'm like, "Yeah." And keep in mind, being Chiefs fans in Maryland, that's not common. You don't see many Chiefs fans in that area. So,
yeah.
yeah. So it's one of those connections. And then James saw that we were doing the show, and he thought it was awesome, and he really wanted to come on and talk to you guys. So, James, the floor is yours, my man.
Appreciate you coming on, man.
Yeah, definitely.
So a big question that I have for you guys, especially because of when you all played, that's really when I started getting into really being a Chiefs fan, was the early 2000s, especially with Trent, Priest, and all of them. What was?
So you were on the same age as Marcus then?
About Marcus, I forget, how old are you, man?
27.
Okay, yeah. I'm going to be 28 in September. So yeah, we're about the same age. And so my big question,
No, I was saying continue.
okay. My question for you guys is, what was probably the biggest factor that held you guys back in terms of those early to mid 2000s teams?
So I've been up front, I think on every episode, just said it bluntly, that our defense wasn't able to complement our offense. Which anybody, could basically tell you with that. So, we just didn't put the pieces together that we needed, with whether it was the coordinator staff, bringing in the right players to fit with certain players. It just, we never got it right defensively. But our offense was one of a kind to watch, man. I know they had Coach Vermeil produced one of those in St. Louis, the greatest thing on turf. He did the same thing at Arrowhead, man. So those guys are fun to watch.
Yeah, I had to agree with you, man. I never want to be critical of our guys, man. I never do, because we was always out there supporting one another, and part of our job is to score points. So regardless of whatever the defense did, and we was always holding each other up. But I think sometimes, I'll even say this: we just the times that when we should have won, we just didn't. Like at one playoff game, it was no punts. You know what I mean? And we could almost put it on us where Priest fumbled, and they get the ball, and it was almost the one who had the ball at the end of the game was going to win. So I don't think you ever see something like that ever again. But man,
but there's no way, JD, you can sit up and say it's like an offensive thing, because
I know
that's the same thing. Because that's like, there's no way Indy's defense can sit back and say that, okay, we played well. They know they didn't play well. Even with Priest's fumble or for the amount of points that their offense outscored our offense, it wasn't a matter of what the defenses did. That particular day, it was about, neither one of those defenses created a stop. And so I think we ended up having a field goal, and, that they were getting touchdowns, and we weren't matching numbers with them throughout the rest of the game. So that was just bad. That was, bad defense on both sides. So
yeah, I'm trying to be a little soft, man, on it.
Hey, it's a podcast. Say what you want to say. You ain't gotta point people out personally.
All right.
But
So
like I said, man, it's like,
so basically,
I have to admit it. We didn't play well.
Right. So okay, and I'll say that was a lot of it, because it's three factions of the game. And sometimes things really just don't work that way. So when I say onus, I want to put onus on the things maybe that we didn't do well, that we should have, because, regardless of it, we always looking to score more points than, the other team, period. And so, it times, I'm not saying, because y'all didn't play bad all the time. You know what I mean? Y'all didn't play bad all the time. And so we can't just put everything on you all. And there was times that we should have scored more points. Maybe we got held to like 21 points or something like that. We should have been looking to get 28 to 35 points every single game, right? So if you got one of, and I looked at it, so we showed the offensive line, you got 3 Hall of Famers on, okay, no doubt, 4, really, counting Tony. T. Rich probably could have been on Hall of Fame. And we got Priest back here, we got Larry back here. Trent was playing at a high level. And, we just, we, at the time that, we was playing, man, it was just a lot of competition, man, but we should have got it done. We should have easily had a Super Bowl with the team that we had. No doubt about it. We should at least have one. But you know what I'm saying? And that's just, you know, I know we just missed that chance, man. We missed that opportunity that year. We was 13-3. We should have easily had it because we was
Easy.
yeah, man. We was whooping people's tail, man, and taking names seriously.
Oh,
And even because didn't we missed like I think we was like 10-6, you know, one year. But we no, we could have easily had one, you know, seriously. So, oh well.
So where are you from then, James?
So I have a story to tell on that one. I am originally born and raised in California, Riverside County. My parents are from Mercer County, Pennsylvania, so deep in Steelers country, sadly. I moved back out this way when I was 11 because my dad had a job transfer to Maryland, and then worked my way through high school and college and such. As Marcus had said, we worked together at a news station in Maryland. And then going on my second year now, I got a job up here at AccuWeather up by State College. So that's how I've been up here. And yeah,
So
I could have
both of
easily.
you, how in the heck did both of y'all become like a Chiefs fan?
So I have a very simple answer for that is when I was a young kid, I would go solely based off of my favorite color, which is red. And so that's how I became a Chiefs fan and a Cincinnati Reds fan.
Gotcha.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, for me, it was pretty simple. My older brother was a big time Chiefs fan. He grew up loving the Chiefs. What's it? Steve DeBerg was his guy growing up. Steve DeBerg and Steve Bono were like two quarterbacks that he like was attached to. So when I was growing up, I'd be in a household with my brother who was watching Chiefs all the time, and I was around 7 or 8 when I started watching you guys, and the rest was history, man. Watching this guy return interceptions for touchdowns, watching this guy block holes for 1,000-yard rushers every year. I mean, come on, how can he not? You know?
Oh yeah, definitely.
Well, good. Yeah, you know, y'all chose a good time, man, to become Chiefs fan, man. And you know, I know during that time, man, it was a lot of exciting ball for sure. You know, that was played, man. So I'm glad at least that we was, you know, gave you some joy, you know, seeing us out there, you know, playing and stuff. So, you know, we enjoyed it as much as y'all enjoyed watching us.
Oh, I'm sure you guys had a blast.
Oh, loved it.
Now, James, I know you got one more question for the guys before you head out.
Off the top of my head, I can't think of anything right now. Maybe if I can come back on another time, I can maybe find another one or two I could ask you guys. But
oh yeah, we'll definitely have you on. We're just gonna have you swipe your credit card on this card reader that we have. I'm just messing.
Well, James, let me ask you this: do you get any flack right now for being a Chiefs fan? Where you at? I mean, close to State College. I mean, you know,
I haven't really gotten any flack so far. Okay. Especially whenever I tell people like I've been a fan since I was about 10 or 11. So they can't really give me any flack on that because like obviously had to go with the highest of highs and the lowest of lows, especially whenever it was the mid basically after you guys stopped playing and into the 2010s. Those were rough times.
Right.
So I would honestly say the most, if you got anything, you probably get nowadays, people say you're just a bandwagon just because Mahomes and the Super Bowl.
Yeah. Nowadays, especially with all that. But thankfully not. I usually always preface this by saying I've been a fan since I was a kid. So.
Yeah. Well, that's awesome.
Good deal, man.
Yeah, come on anytime, man. We'd like to have you on.
Oh yeah, definitely. I'm happy this was one of the few times I could actually be able to come on, and hopefully I can talk to you guys more often.
Well, I'll have some questions for you next time.
All right. Sounds like a plan.
Awesome.
We'll be happy to answer them.
All right.
Appreciate you, James.
Have a good one, James.
Appreciate it, guys. Thank you again.
See you, buddy.
See ya.
Cool kid. It was one of those times when, like I said, I was watching a game, and this was the year we met. It was the first year of Mahomes as a starter. So like, it wasn't the point where you could become a bandwagon. It was like probably week 4 of that season. So you weren't like Mahomes wasn't the guy yet. And so he's like, "You're a Chiefs fan?" I'm like, "Yeah." And then he said he was a Chiefs fan since the early 2000s. And I was like, "Okay."
So first off, you can't say cool kid because he's your age. Shit, you're just a kid too.
That's fair. That's fair. I feel like when I'm with you guys, I feel like I get up there with you guys.
You the elder.
JD,
Yeah.
JD, he's talking about cool. He's talking about cool kid. Like
I heard him. Yeah, elder statement. He's a cool kid. He's a good kid. Good kid. You know, works hard. Good kid. Works hard.
I love the kid's tenacity. It's a good kid. But yeah, no, and it was cool having him on. He didn't ask the second question, so I'm gonna get one more question out before we end the show tonight. It was something that was it was also debated this week. Shannon Sharp actually had some good words to say about it. It's always funny seeing Shannon Sharp defending the Chiefs so much now. You know, it's a Bronco. The guy should be defending.
Is that about our ranking?
About the rankings, the really early power rankings, which they have. ESPN has the Chiefs at number 1 and Buccaneers at number 2. What are your guys' quick thoughts on that?
I mean, you got the 2 teams that represented the Super Bowl, so how could you not? You know, and you still got, and it's hard to man, it's always hard to count Brady out, as he's proven. And then they've gone back and the Buccaneers have pretty much re-signed everybody that they had last year. And then to have a Kansas City Chiefs team built offensively the way that we're built, in hopes to stacking up the defense to kind of complement it. So you have to go with those 2 teams. And I don't see right now another team that's close, because nobody's really added any extra firepower to their teams that says, you know, we're a dominant team, that we're the team to beat, that, you know, we're better than those teams that represent the Super Bowl. So right now, yeah, I have to go with us in Tampa Bay.
Yeah, you know, I think for one, you know, the only ones we lost, right, was the tackles, and everybody's anticipating, you know, that we're going to get guys in to replace them. And also, too, I think everybody is also taking into account, you know, the circumstances that surrounded the game last year, right? I mean, COVID, the whole, you know, with the team, you know, having to travel with that, you know, the tragedy that happened with, you know, with the coach and whatnot. So everybody understands, like, all these things had a factor into the game and what guys were thinking and whatnot. So going into the game, you know, you was a favorite. So, you know, like, now, look, free agency's coming up. There's guys out here that you know, is going to be available. Beaching them is going to get guys in here, you know, and they're going to try to bolster what they've been doing. Yeah. But I think everybody understands, especially, like, you know, people that's making the rankings, like, look, you know what? They had all these things going on with themselves last year. Let's give them a fair shot, a fair chance where everything is on the same board with each other. We ain't playing in Tampa. That's another thing. You ain't playing in Tampa either. So, you know, shoot, why not?
But Jason, what have we seen so far? What's the biggest move so far? Is that Stafford going to St. Louis? I think that's probably the biggest move all season anybody's made so far.
Yeah.
That's not a threat. I mean, I don't think St. Louis has been a threat to knock off Tampa or to represent. So, and there's no other bigger moves that have been in the offseason that says, okay, these teams are going to jump in front of Tampa and KC. So I just don't see anything right now that says if there's any other teams right now better than Tampa and KC.
I agree with you on that. I do. I agree with you on that. Now we see some teams that have definitely gotten better. I mean, you know, what New England's been doing. You start thinking maybe Belichick is like, okay, they say it wasn't me. I'm gonna show it was me. Start getting some of these moves in here right now. You know what I mean? Just to compete. But yeah,
I would be more afraid of Miami right now, because I think Miami's got 200 picks in the draft with all the picks that they have.
Right.
Obviously, I mean, you still, that's a lot of young potential, but the way that their young potential has panned out, you know, those little young guys are playing good ball down there.
Yeah.
I'd be more worried about Miami than I would New England right now.
Yeah, you get the right guys out there for what they have. Absolutely, no doubt a threat. I agree with you. But you know, AFC, I think it's still always going to be the ones that we're looking at. Browns, who's up and coming. You know, it's going to be, you know, Buffalo, no doubt. Ravens, sure. Okay, Tennessee. It's going to be just that mix of guys. You know, so.
Do you guys think Indianapolis takes a leap this year over Tennessee? Because with Carson Wentz, or no, you're not buying Carson Wentz, no?
Nope.
No, he's
yeah. No, because I saw a more confident Phillip Rivers going into a team that was already established. right now you got a Carson Wentz that's been beaten down over the last few years, mentally and physically. It's going to take some sort of, I don't know, Jesus to come down to get him prepared for this upcoming season. Like that, I don't think there's been one player in the last few years that's taken the beating, criticism that he has, you know, because he's got the big paycheck. You know, he was supposed to be the guy for Philly, and he just hasn't lived up to it. You know, I can't think of the guy's name that came in and ended up winning a Super Bowl for him.
Nick Foles.
Yeah, Foles. And then to come back after that, and, you know, everybody's saying that he's had such a great – I didn't think he had that good of a year after that. But everybody else thought he did. So they were riding high on what he's supposed to do. And he ends up leading the league in interceptions and, like, having a pretty decent team. And he's just – I don't know. I don't want to say he ran into the ground, but he just didn't perform up to their expectations.
Yeah, it's going to be tough for him, no doubt about that. No doubt about it. Yeah, Carson, man, he's been through a lot. Shoot, he get beat up. We seen Cam like he was after he got beat up. How he did up there. We'll see how he's gonna do again this year. But yeah, like Carson out there in Indianapolis, I don't know. I don't see it.
Yeah. I know we had Coach Vermeil on earlier on the season. Right, I think it was the same week they benched Wentz officially for Hurts, and Coach Vermeil seemed like he was pretty. He thinks there's a second win in Carson Wentz. It seemed like that week. He thinks Carson's going to come back and bounce back. So I mean, he's got the talent there. It's just is it mental after the injuries that he suffered?
I wouldn't argue that, but still, I would take a aging Phillip Rivers over Carson Wentz. I would give Phillip Rivers another year over what Carson Wentz has shown me, potential wise, or whatever he's done in the past.
I don't know. New suit do a lot for a man, D. New suit.
Huh?
I said new suit do a lot for a man. Shoot, the new city. Hey.
Sometimes it can bring the worst out of him.
Hey, it could. It could. You said he needed Jesus, man. He's a man of faith, like myself. So you can be praying for him. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna pray for him too. I'm gonna pray for him.
I wish him the best.
He's a good guy. I like Carson. He's a good guy, though. You know. So sometimes
I wish him the best. I don't want anybody. I don't want no player to come out in this league and to not play his best ball. I want everybody to get the max contract that they can get, have the longest career they can have. Mm-hmm. You know, but is that going to happen? No.
Yeah. Well, we just know they're going to keep getting them firepower come through Kansas City. You know, that's just that's bad business.
Yeah.
Come on, Carson. Come on out here too. Get a couple lumps for yourself. You're on back to Indy. No.
All right, guys. Well, that does it for us. Anyone out there, Chiefs Kingdom, has any Chief concerns for these guys, please tweet at us at @ConcernsChief. And please subscribe and follow us on Chief Concerns on YouTube, the Bleav Podcast Network now, or any places podcasts can be found. Guys, another great show. First show on Bleav Network. It was a good show.
Yeah.
I appreciate you guys, man. Y'all have a good one. I'm about to jump my butt in the shower and take a nap.